Good morning and happy Wednesday.
Another rainy day, and
Yep.
here we are
Here
in
we
the office
are.
on wheels.
Yeah, this is our new home. I'm Sandy Goldstein and
I'm Julie Picardi.
real estate attorneys living out of this
My vehicle, which I'm going to be really sad when I finally have to give this vehicle up.
I'm not. Although it is nice. It is nice.
Get that
It's definitely.
roof
Yeah, we
open.
have the roof
Looking
open.
at the rain.
I mean, yeah, it'd be nice if the sun was shining.
Yeah,
you know?
another rainy day.
Yeah, I think we're going to be doing a lot of vehicle posts for the future because it's cold outside.
It is very cold outside.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you did say it was going to be a cold
For
winter.
winter. It is. It is. I already read that. But
We just had
Yeah.
breakfast at Luigi's in Peabody.
on Linfield Street. It was very good.
The plan was to go to that Centennial Grill.
Yeah.
But it's not really a restaurant.
Yeah, it's kinda
I
like
went
a
there and it was
takeout.
more like a takeout-y-ish kind of place. So
Yeah.
we went to a more breakfasty place.
Yeah. So we're looking for suggestions.
Mm.
Maybe we'll have we'll invite people and have Where are we Wednesday at a
We
restaurant?
keep saying we're going to invite other people,
and
and then we just kind of do our own thing. We
Yeah,
really,
that's
we
true.
really got to schedule
Yeah.
with some other people.
Yeah, we got to do that.
We got to do
Okay.
that.
A new
But you
year
know,
is
this weather,
coming.
I just, you know,
I know. And now everybody's getting busy with the holidays
It
coming
is. It's
up
crazy.
and
Crazy time
all
of year.
that stuff. Yes, it is. Next Wednesday is the Wednesday before Thanksgiving.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
my
Well,
God.
you know, maybe we'll bring one of the turkeys from my neighborhood. Go to my
Oh,
my
I
page.
saw that
Yeah,
with the turkeys. Yeah. I
They
have them in my neighborhood all the
travel.
time, too.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Wait till next Thursday. They won't be traveling anymore. Okay. So today we thought we would talk about power. Not that kind of power, but powers of attorney, giving power to someone, and how it affects
Powers of
real
attorney.
estate. Because a lot of people do estate plans and they come up with durable power of attorneys. And I think what our thing from a real estate perspective is if, you know, when you own property and you own it with someone else, which is a great thing. A lot of times parents are on deeds with kids, or a friend's on a deed, or, you know, for whatever reason someone else is. You want to make sure that both people are properly protected in the event that the other has to sell the house. For example, if a parent is on the deed, you want to make sure that it's tenants by the entirety. So if they die, you know, the property passes to the child.
We have to be married in that situation to be tenants by the entire.
I'm sorry, joint tenants with rights of survivorship. Okay, it's still Wednesday morning. Got a lot on the mind.
We had a lot of coffee, but maybe
We
not
did,
enough.
Maybe not enough.
Maybe
yeah.
too much.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, as long as it transfers. The other thing is that if a parent, you know, our parents, they age, or else they die, but anyways, they age and they become incapacitated and they can't be notarized to sign a deed or to refinance. So if a young person owns a property and mom or dad is on the deed and they become incapacitated a long time, they'll say to us, "Oh, we have a durable power of attorney. We can do bank stuff," and you really can't. Because that's not the right kind of power of attorney all the time.
Right. So the power of attorneys are, you know, for first off, I guess a little bit of a, yeah, well, like she's like James
Corden driving. We're
But
gonna start singing.
we were just talking about that years ago when I first went on my own. There was an attorney who had an actual bus, a real estate closing bus. I don't think he's practicing law anymore, but he used to take the real estate closings. He'd drive with his bus, and you could come onto like the bus, and there were tables, and you could do the closings. Right.
I like
right?
it.
Exactly. Okay, but back to the power of attorney. So in terms of power of attorneys. Basically what a power of attorney is doing is you're giving somebody the power to act on your behalf. Right. So for those of you who don't know what a power of attorney is, you're giving someone the ability to act on your behalf. So when you're doing estate planning, there's the power of attorneys that they use there, and then when you're doing real estate transactions, we have powers of attorney. So a lot of times as attorneys, we represent sellers in a transaction as a power of attorney, so that our sellers don't need to attend the closing because they're giving us the power of attorney to go and act on their behalf. So we get
as long as they sign the deed, though.
Right. So the seller has to sign the deed, and then they sign a power of attorney that gives us the ability to basically go to the closing and sign on behalf of our sellers, and it's specific to that transaction. But when you're doing estate planning stuff, we would name people in our family to be our power of attorney, so that if we got ill or incapacitated, that somebody would have the ability to basically step into our shoes and handle our affairs for us. Because if we're not dead, but we're merely incapacitated, someone needs to have that ability.
And it is very important, because without it, that property can't be sold, it can't be refinanced, nothing can happen to it. So you really want to make sure that that you have the ability to deal with the property. And in the same light, even if a parent or older person owns property on their own, singularly, you want to make sure that their will or their estate plan or all of their documentation, their power of attorney, gives their person that they've appointed the power to deal with their property.
Right.
And that's really important.
Right.
And along with themselves.
I was getting to that, but you know. But anyways, so so we talked about the
we have too much coffee.
We talked about the seller power of attorney, but then if you're doing your estate planning and you have a power of attorney drafted as part of that, which gives someone the ability to step into your shoes and handle your affairs if you become incapacitated, it is important that you have a conversation with that estate planning attorney and maybe even consult with a real estate attorney if in fact you own property that is in the name of yourself individually or in the name of you and a spouse or a child or anybody, because if you co-own a property and one of those parties becomes incompetent or incapacitated, you're stuck.
Yes.
It becomes an issue, and the court would have to appoint a conservatorship over that person's property to be able to do something with it. But with a properly executed durable power of attorney, you would then be able to maybe rely on that power of attorney in terms of the real estate transaction, as long as there's specifics
in it,
language that's in there, which gives you the ability to deal with the property in terms of selling the property, as Cindy was saying, or refinancing that property, or even some language regarding self-dealing, because there's a lot of times I'm actually dealing with a situation now. Dad and son own the property. Dad is physically and mentally incompetent. We have a power of attorney, but son is still sort of stuck because it doesn't give him language to be able to do any self-dealing. He wants to refinance just in his name. Sometimes those power of attorneys allow you to go ahead and sell the property, but if the person wants to retain that property, it's a little bit of self-dealing and it causes a bit of a problem. So I guess it's important, if you own property individually or even with somebody else and you're drafting all of your estate planning documents, to sort of maybe consult with a real estate attorney if you're owning real estate, to make sure that the language that sort of needs to be in there, because we have sort of specific language, and then we need those original power of attorneys to be recorded in those transactions, which is sometimes a problem because they only have one original, and so that's something you
should always ask your estate planning attorney to execute two power of attorney.
And you will need. And the language often says you can use a copy, but like for us, we need to record an original.
Banks always want an original,
right? And that's, you end up running into an issue. It's better to just have a couple of originals executed. There's nothing wrong with having a few power of attorneys executed and kept, so that if you need an original for a transaction, whether it's real estate related or a bank or something, that you can actually have that. And usually, the whole point of a power of attorney is it goes into effect, or it survives incompetency. So the person, the principal, the person who's naming, so like if Sandy named me as a power of attorney,
I would.
I know, and I would name you too. Sandy would be the principal and I would be the power of attorney. It would survive, her incompetency.
I'm not going to be incompetent.
I know. Well,
I am older than
that's
you.
Debatable. Yes, you are older than me. That's okay. But the way my life runs, I'm probably the one that's more.
This is true.
Exactly.
I'll take care of your
my
stuff.
kids have smushed my brain, so maybe I need to
I'm
name
not taking
you.
the kids.
No, nobody wants.
That's the other thing too. When you do an estate plan, talk to the people that you're appointing.
Make sure they want what powers and duties you're assigning to them,
and that they know that that they're able to deal with the things regarding your property, your house.
I mean, a lot of people. It's funny too. Like a lot of people who do the estate stuff, or whatever, they want to kind of keep that secret. Like who has
that's like on TV, the reading of the will.
Right. Like who wants to be who's going to be your power of attorney or a healthcare proxy and that stuff. But it's real important that like if you're naming those people, the person knows, because once you're incompetent, and this happens a lot with like Alzheimer's situations, it's a progressive disease. So you get diagnosed, and if it gets progressively worse and the person never told so-and-so that they had the power, it causes so many complications.
Yeah.
And we run into that in so many times in real estate because, you know, parents own the property with children,
Yep.
you know, adult children. Or I've had adult children who want to add their minor kids. That's never, you don't add a minor child to a deed.
No.
Because they're considered incompetent because they're not of legal age. So,
Yeah.
you know, there's a lot of things that go into that and things to think about when you're dealing with the real estate aspect.
Yeah.
The proper power of attorneys.
Yes.
Is,
yes. I have to redo my healthcare proxy because my doctor's office, I don't know, they must have lost it or whatever. So I've always had my niece Alyssa, who I say to her, "You want to be my healthcare proxy?" She goes, "Yeah, let me think about this. Pain. Yeah, you want absolutely none. Yeah." She goes, "And I get everything." I go, maybe I'll think about having Scott.
Yeah, and you know, when you're doing all of that stuff in houses, you know, and homes and stuff, you got to think through all of that.
All of it.
And
yes.
you know, it's we don't necessarily do like the estate planning stuff, but it kind of goes hand in hand with
It does.
what we do.
It does. Yep.
But you know, the estate planning practitioners maybe have a little bit of a different view on things than because there's little nuances that
as to how you want to do certain
that we would
things
have that they don't necessarily know, and vice versa.
Yeah.
So it's good to kind of consult with both.
Yeah. And to the other thing too is to, when you do, let them know about every interest you own in the property. Because I'm dealing with a situation now where I have to probate a mom's portion of she owns a 5% interest, 5%, and we have to probate her portion. And in emails between her the estate planning attorneys in New York, the paralegal, we didn't know about the Massachusetts property.
Right. So if
it's ownership. If you're on the deed, it's ownership.
Right. No matter how small that interest is, if you're named on a deed in any way, shape, or form, the person who owns the property, everyone who's named on a deed has to somehow deal with this property, the disposition of it, the refinance of it, whatever. So anybody who's named on a deed, whether they're life tenants, whether they have a small percentage interest, whatever, you want to refinance the property, even though you think it's yours. If anybody else is listed on your deed, they've got a right in that property, and they have to be involved in the transaction, which means they have to be of sound mind. So if you're having any kind of issues with that, you know, you have to think that stuff ahead, because you know we don't know what's going to happen.
We don't.
You know,
like this. The client said to me, "Mom was on the deed, but I pay the mortgage." That doesn't mean it's yours. And also you mentioned life estate. That's another thing. That's a great way to, you know, if you have a sort of a single parent, maybe aging, they don't want to give up the property, they deed the property to their children, maintain what's called a life estate for themselves, which gives them the right to live in the property, pay the taxes on the property, insurance, and take care of the property. But upon their death, the property automatically passes to the children, which is a great thing to do. However, if mom or dad becomes incapacitated, you can't refinance the property, you can't sell the property, because they still need to sign that deed.
And that becomes challenging. Again, you know, you think sometimes, you know, your parents maybe not, they're healthy, or they're not, or they're aging okay or whatever, but all it is really a diagnosis of Alzheimer's. Or like in my situation, you know, my mother wakes up one day with a brain tumor, and all of a sudden the brain, you know, so it's sort of anticipating that anything could, I mean, God forbid you got in a car accident and ended up in a hospital. Like, you don't know. And
especially if your family members they need money to care for you.
Right.
And they say, great, we'll refinance it, we'll do a cash out.
Right. Because then the alternative is, like I said, you got to go to court and try to get, in that situation, someone appointed as a guardian and as a conservator. And that's, you know,
that's going to take some time.
So, and it does. It delays the process, and it complicates things. So it's easier to sort of think through the stuff as much as you can up front. Talk to the attorneys, you know, and sort of feel it out and make sure that the appropriate instruments are executed, so that it facilitates everything for you going forward.
All that what ifs. Like,
all the what ifs. Nobody wants to think about the what ifs, but you know, we have to think about the what ifs, because life is life, right?
Like, what if you go to Market Basket and you can't find a turkey for Thanksgiving?
Like, what if there's snow in the forecast and there's no bread and milk?
Exactly.
I mean,
get the bread and milk. This is bread and
gasoline.
Oh my God, the season is coming.
No
Do you have
gasoline
a
and no bread and
plan?
milk.
Do you? Maybe we'll talk next week about a plan.
Yes.
Bread and milk.
Bread and milk.
I don't like milk.
What is the deal with bread and milk?
I don't know, but I don't like
That
milk.
goes back from
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Who the hell needs bread? That's not what I'm going to get. I'm getting the ring dings and the coffee.
And the alcohol.
And the alcohol.
Yeah. But I do remember the blizzard of '78.
Yeah,
I was in college, whatever.
I-
We were drinking.
Whatever.
Oh, we'll talk about that another time. But my dad
Because I
had a
was
grocery
6.
store, and they carted the bread up from I think it was Wonder Bread was down the street
Oh,
in
yeah, I
Malden. My
remember
Malden
that. I
cousin.
remember that,
Okay,
yeah.
and
I
he sent
remember
the
that,
boys
but my
down
mom
with
used to go down
sleds,
there, yeah.
and they brought the bread up to the store because it was the only way that they could get deliveries.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay, so when I was in college,
You could drink at a younger age, apparently.
you could drink when you were 18, so we could all drink. But there was sort of a driving ban in Connecticut. I went to the University of Connecticut for a year and a half.
You should be driving ban with alcohol anyway.
Well,
right?
no, driving ban because of the snow,
Oh.
because of the blizzard. But you could kind of be on the roads.
Oh, I didn't think you could.
Oh,
I
in
thought it-
Connecticut,
Oh,
it was a
okay.
little bit less. So these guys, entrepreneurs, they would charge. I think a keg was like $20. So for $25, they would get you your keg. However, a ticket was I think like $50, and I think they could get 10 kegs in their car or whatever. So they would collect the $5. If they got the ticket, they'd pay the ticket. If they didn't, they made $50.
Nice. I was being pulled down the
Business,
street
yeah.
in sleds because I was only 6. There was a blizzard of 78, but you know.
Okay,
That's right.
whatever. Whatever, little one. Little one, I can drink at 18.
Nice.
Okie dokie.
There you go.
I'm still drinking.
There you go.
Alrighty then. So I think that's it for today.
We got holidays and end
Have
of
the
month
right
next week.
power.
Yeah, have the right power.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out
And
next week.
we'll talk to you next week. It'll be a little stressful because it'll be the day before Thanksgiving.
My kids have
But
a half a day that day. And
Maybe we'll
yeah.
do it with the kids. No. We'll go
Oh, yeah,
out.
that's always fun.
Yeah, okay, we could. We'll see. We'll keep. You'll have to just
Tune
check in next week. Yeah, so have a great week.
Stay dry, stay warm,
Absolutely. And
and stay out of the stores because it's already getting
yeah,
crazy.
it's out of control.
Anyways,
Okay.
and we'll see you next week.
All right.
On
On Where Are We Wednesday? Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.